Hello, I'm Lauren and welcome to Improving the World. I'm an international improviser based in Hong Kong and I speak to amazing women of improv all over the world. Today, I talk to Beatrix Brunschko. She is in Graz, Austria. We talk about, is contact important for improv? Can you have players not in the same space and still do great improv? Do you need to have an audience? Is the physical human togetherness important? Or can it be successful online? We shall be the judge. But additionally, I ask you, for some patience with the fact that we're going through hashtag coronavirus madness. And we had some video lag. So just close your eyes and listen to the lovely Beatrix espouse wonderful things. Don't worry about the video. I hope that you enjoy. So Beatrix, you are an improviser. You also teach improv and you are associated with the, I love this, theater, which is basically, is it in or associated with the train station, Theater and Bahnhof? You're the artistic director of improv there.
Yes, but we are not in the railway station anymore, but we started with a little theater in the railway station a long time ago.
I have this image of people getting off the train and then just you're doing improv right there. I think that would be so great.
Yeah, at that time we didn't do improv. We were just doing theater. People were walking by, popping in the middle of rehearsals, checking out what's going on here. It was cool.
Oh, I love it. Today we're going to talk about if being together as humans in the same physical space is important. Improv is so much rooted in live interaction with the audience and also the players having live interaction. And what with, like Corona, we improvisers have had to transition from in-person human contact, picture makes sense, to talking through computer boxes. Do you think it's even possible to have a successful improv show without being in the same room together? What do you think?
I honestly don't know, but I'm thinking a lot about it. It affects my work. I cannot perform anymore because my theater is closed. I'm watching a lot of colleagues doing it online. Most of the time I'm sad watching it because for me, most of the things don't work at the moment yet. Like we humans are, we try to continue what we can or what we are used to do, even if circumstances are different. What I witness at the moment is that if we just do what we always do on stage in a Zoom box, the game themselves, they are still working, but it doesn't speak to me. I talk from my point of view. When I'm watching as an audience member, it does not talk to me. It's the same situation, but I'm not with them. I am distant. I am not playing along like I do when I'm there. Even if I write my suggestions in the chat, it's different. It's like I'm not there.
When you're typing, there's this delay in time. So I suggest something for the moment that I see, but when I'm seeing it, it's a minute after it's happened, right?
Yeah. It's also this weird thing that people are typing constantly. If I'm sitting in an improv show, I'm asked to give a suggestion, people give suggestions, and then they watch. You don't know what people are doing when they are watching. I can walk away and come back 3 minutes later. It's like I'm not committed as an audience member. It's something that happens whether I'm here or not. There is no commitment. There is no importance to it in a way. Randy Dixon from Unexpected Production, he is my mentor. And in the meantime, my duo partner, we have a duo show together. So he was my teacher and now we work together. And one of the main things I learned from him is that an improv audience has a different contract with the performers than a normal audience, because an improv audience is not coming to watch a story. An improv audience is coming to tell a story together with the players on stage.
Yeah.
Even if they are not on stage. If a scene starts, they are there. The story runs in their heads. If it happens that way on stage, they're happy that it's the same. That's what I saw. That's my story. If something else happens, they're, oh, this is different. Oh, wonderful. Games work, but stories, scene work, for me, I don't want to watch it.
Not only do you not want to watch it, it sounds like you really don't want to watch it. Is this, do you think, because the players are not together in the same room, or that we are not in the room with the audience? Is it about us with the audience or us together as performers?
it's the same. All of us are not together in a room. If you are there and can see how it emerges, how people look into each other's eyes, they touch each other, they are there, and you are the witness of something that happens right now in front of you, and you were also pushing it a little with a suggestion, or your neighbor said something, then you are just fine in watching. If you are not there, you sit and something happens what's maybe not good, why should I watch it? It's the same with chatting, it's okay, but having a real emotional moment between players, if they are like, it's always this box. And we lost the naked stage. Whatever you say or you put there as an actor, it's there for the imagination of everybody, because there is nothing. It's black. Everything can be. Here, it's my kitchen. Whatever I say, it's not working. This is not a castle. I can play being in the castle, but I'm not there. We can do green screen. Maybe it works, but we have to find out new things.
Interesting what you say about the naked stage. I hadn't actually thought of that before. And it's the same idea as silence and the power of silence between lines or in transition, and the scene painting, or how you walk in and craft a stage, go in and mime silently. You're right. There is so much there. And with losing the physical stage because you're just looking at somebody through their little Zoom box, then you don't have this stage which we all own. What do you think about, just for fun, what if we put a whole bunch of money into doing a high-tech show, and we put a bunch of cameras, costumes, and and I got all the performers in the same space, and we really tried to curate an experience? Do you think that would be more successful? There's still no audience, but we're really crafting something. I know that you already said before you think both are important, but what if we just pump dollar bills into it?
First of all, that would be so cool. Lots of money to investigate and research and experiment with that art form and getting paid for it. I think then we would find something out more quickly. Maybe that sounds rude, but it's also how experienced improvisers are and how good they are as improvisers. If you do this with cameras, there is another thing. It's not just a camera filming you. You cannot act like you act on stage, because then it's camera work. It's another layer on top of improvising together. If I have to work in front of a camera and try something out, then I have to be aware that the camera is my audience in a way. I don't know. I have to research, see what works, what doesn't work. On Netflix, the first improv long form show.
Middleditch and Schwartz, you're talking about, right?
And I was always one of the people who said, yeah, improv on screen doesn't work. It doesn't work. Improv shows, it doesn't work. But I watched them and I have to admit, it's cool. It's so simple. They got rid of all the structure. They just doing a story. They are fucking great storytellers, and they're fucking great improvisers and actors. And this is why it suddenly worked. So for me at the moment, it's also being good in your profession, knowing what you are doing and being capable of your art form. If you are not on top of your profession at the moment, you have a problem on screen.
That's actually an interesting point. The Middleditch and Schwartz Netflix special of 3 long forms, particularly I think because this is exactly the scenario. You still have an audience, mind you, and they do a lot of audience interaction, but I think that they filmed it with 9 cameras, and they, as you said, are actors. So they have an awareness of the camera, which camera. And if I did my reading correctly, when they did the special, they were pitching it. So they knew what they wanted. And as you said, they're people who are in the game. They know what they want. So they're directing where they want cameras. They are both actors and sort of almost directing as much as they are just improvising. Very different than something like an ASCAT, another long form that got televised. I don't know if, did the ASCATs come to, I'll send you a link.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, to your point, this is curated because, again, with a live audience, long form that's filmed, just like Whose Line, they keep certain bits and then they clip out the stuff that they don't want so that they splice together a show, not just organic performing.
Yeah, it's a new field. You cannot do what you do.
You were mentioning you kind of have to be at the top of your game so that it's successful. When we're trying right now rapidly to shift from in-person to online, have you seen it amplify some of the struggles that people have as a player?
Yeah, I think it magnifies the bad improv habits. When people are not listening, that's one of the things that really magnifies, because in that medium, listening is so important. We all know when we are in Zoom conferences, you cannot just, somebody is talking and then you blow in your thought, because then you're over, nobody listen, and the pictures are changing and it's confusion. And this is what we usually do in improv. You have your first offer and your partner already knows what you want to say and gets into it because it's not listening. This is a thing that magnifies like, whoa, like hell in the online format. It magnifies blocking, everything, all of our bad habits get magnified. And it's not charming. We all know those actors or actresses who are stage hogs and they are running over you, but the audience loves them because they are so cool, because most of them are also very charming. That's their that covers the bad habit. The fellow players are not so happy with it. On screen, the charming card is gone as well. Or they have to find a new way of being charming that they get away with what they are doing. For me, one of the moments where I thought, we should not do this. If we do an improvised opera on stage and we are not good singers, it's charming, it's nice, and the audience loves it. That it's on screen, it's terrible singing. It's terrible singing live as well, but an improv audience will always appreciate and acknowledge what you're doing because you haven't prepared, you haven't rehearsed, you just try this out. So the audience is always like, what the fuck? I couldn't do that. This is so great what they're doing. And if you're failing, it's like, yeah, but they tried. And I'm very happy that they tried for me. This is all gone in that world. If it's not great, you are like, oh, I turned the volume down until it's over because I cannot listen. You know what I mean? Or I say, okay, this is not a good scene. I go in the other room and get me something to drink. I hope it's better when I come back. All these things, if you don't like what you see at home, you don't sit there and wait until it gets better.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too if this is all because we're new at it. We've been doing improv, the individuals, for either many years, but as an art form, we've been working and crafting this for a solid number of decades or longer, depending whose opinion you take. So we've like crafted the art form, we know what works, and then we're doing that. And I'm wondering maybe if just the sheer newness is where the struggle is, and we will be better, and the opera on Zoom can be successful, or if it's just gonna always suck.
I don't know. I'm grounded here. It's the 7th week I'm here. All my work, we were preparing a big ensemble show, scripted. We have to rehearse online. The opening was last week, but we keep on working. I have to teach online an hour's ensemble improvisation with students at the Academy of Performing Arts. Everything I did not work, so I have to come up with something new.
Is the teaching successful online? Is that easier?
It's different. The thing I'm teaching now is nothing I would have taught in the room. I teach them different things, different aspects of improvisation, which is now very cool because I would have never ever spent so much time on unlocking their censorship in the head. I would have done it with my usual improv games, but now I let them write. Creative writing. I let them discover their new world, discover the stories which are hidden in this kitchen by how this kitchen looks like. And all kinds of stuff I had to come up with. In improv, now it's the time that we come up with our own styles, because this is the thing that's bothering me for years, that the improv world got so traditional. Theater is always like, and there is a new style coming up, or a new theater that makes theater in their own way that was never done before. You may like it, you may hate it, I don't care. But in improv, we have styles. Johnstone, that's Canadian. IO, the variations of those styles. Harold, story. I'm teaching internationally all over the world, and everywhere the scenes look the same, the way they are played.
Are you saying that maybe this is a blessing in disguise? Being forced into something new, we are being forced into discovery, which really is what improv is all about. And it's making us be, Yeah,
I think it can be to force us, and because we are in a way stuck. We can develop things that have never been created before. We are all pioneers at the moment. And I don't hope that there is then the one group that figures the cool show out and then we all do it like this because this is working. This is the big trap we can also fall into. I also see now after 7 weeks, there are more and more interesting little formats coming up, which are like, okay, it doesn't work, but that's interesting because it's different. And they try something new. Maybe the virus is a blessing. Maybe afterwards capitalism isn't that bad anymore. Because but this is now, the whole thing is not working and now we are shut down in the world. I doubt it. In improv, I hope that we all find out new things.
It's funny to me that you are talking about the consistency in style globally being something that is a detractor. I hadn't thought of it like that. When I go around the world and do improv collaborations or work with people, I am so pleased, surprised, and drawn in when there is consistency. And I guess that's not the same thing as being lax. When there's consistency and we all speak the same language, it makes my heart happy. I know that I can go into a new community and they will understand and we can like jump and play together and do stuff. But I hear what you're saying. If we're painting with the same 3 colors over and over, we're really only going to get so far. This force jarring us into having to try is itself really what art is. That's quite lovely, actually. You're very smart.
Thank you. You too. I like your questions. It's amazing. We have never met before.
No.
And we had the short talk before the interview, and then you come up with these wonderful questions. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm not done. I got more. So one more for you, I think. What do you think about the difference between a rehearsal and a show without an audience? And I already know what I think, but I want to know what you think. When I am in a rehearsal, I also don't have a live audience. And the only people who are watching me are either nobody and the wall or the other improvisers. Why is that different? Why is that more successful? Because I've had shows where no one showed up, or maybe even worse, I did a show one time where a snowstorm sort of came out of nowhere and 3 people made it through the snow to the show. We thought we were going to cancel, but they came through a snowstorm. So we did the show. We had more performers than people in the audience. And it was like kind of amazing and kind of heart-wrenching at the same time. It was sort of painful and you just wanted it to be over, but they had this private show. That was, I think, harder than a rehearsal. Why is the audience so important versus a rehearsal? Tell me.
This is a very interesting question. I think because in front of an audience, we want to succeed. Even if we say what we always say before we start improvising, this is all improvised. We don't know what's going to happen. It can go anywhere. It's all made up. It's blah, blah, blah. Then we start improvising in front of an audience and it cannot go anywhere. It cannot that we start a linear story and all of a sudden it turns into a herald because we have all those fellow players who like to keep it there where it has supposed to be, because this is what we said we do a story. We want to succeed. In rehearsal, we are exploring, even if we fail, because it's rehearsal. We are exploring moments, new things, and we don't have the pressure of an audience. We have the pressure of our fellow players watching us, but then they are like an audience always should be. Then they are the other players who are outside and like what I said right in the beginning, they are also there to tell the story and not to watch the story in rehearsal. Actually, I hate to rehearse improv. It always feels like, yeah, it was nice, yeah, but now I need the audience. But also, we have to be more aware that like in theater, the audience sees a product. In traditional theater or experimental theater, performance art, it's the product. In improvisation, the audience witnesses a process. This is also a very different thing between theater and improvisational theater. When we do a show, we want to present our product of improvisation. And that's the difference for me. This is why it's so hard if there is no audience. We could also say, okay, let's 3 people, we do it. It's like, yeah, but that's the main difference, and it's all in our heads. And of course, it needs the atmosphere. This is like beside that, but from the player's perspective, this is why it's so different. It's an art form that needs the audience.
And I will add to this, at least for me personally, I am more lost in the story when there is an audience. Why? Because at a rehearsal, I feel like we are working on something. We can stop it. We can talk about it. We are testing and trying. It's specifically there to work out the kinks. It's not real yet. It's a dry run. With an audience, it has to go and it has to go forward, and therefore it won't stop. We won't tweak it. I mean, unless, something horrible happens, but you have to go. And therefore I feel like I go more into the reality, and I also have to block out the audience. You do shows sometimes and someone will say like, oh, did you hear the drunk guy in the back, or did you hear someone dropped? And I don't hear it usually. Doing that live show with an audience brings me more into that flow state. The blinders are on. Yeah,
and I think everyone is also different. You are like this, like I'm an improviser who is always in the audience. If something drops, it's there. I cannot shut them out completely. No, it's impossible for me. If we're doing a show together, we are there also in a complete different state, which is very important. I would be always out, you are always there. It's a wonderful combination, I think. But we as an improviser, we have to be aware of how our colleagues' brains are working. When they are working, there is so many levels to improvisation. All this is already going on when we are in our natural habitat, in our natural context. And now we are this little thing at the moment here online. Yeah, but I think this situation is so cool because it brings up all these thoughts. We finally start again to think about what we are doing, not just doing it.
Yeah, no autopilots here for sure. Beatrix, I want to know what your words of wisdom are. Speak to the younger version of you, your improv community peers, someone who's never tried improv and they find this video. They did not like the online improv opera that they watched, and so they're giving us another shot. Do right by them. No pressure. This must be the most amazing thing you ever say. What are your words of wisdom?
At the moment, just improvise. It has never been done before. There is no way that we know how this works. Just truly improvise.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. And someone who is coming through Austria and they think, you know what, I'm going to hang a left. I'm going to go see Beatrix. They want to come to your theater to watch you, to jam. They want to buy you the little Mozart chocolate things.
The Mozartkugeln.
Yeah. Or the layered cake.
Sachertorte.
They want to come. They want to buy you cake. How do people find you?
Our theater has a website. And as I said, most of the time we do theater. Mondays we improvise. Jacob Bennigan, he was the former artistic director of Rapid Fire Theater. And at the moment, having a Zoom in the other room. He's Canadian. He has a solo improv show, Game of Death. That's also once a month. It's in English. And we have a website, www.theater-im-bahnhof.com. There is a list of all our shows, always developed through improvisation. We have one online show going on at the moment. It's a talk show format we are doing on stage for years called Zu Gast, and we transferred it to Zoom. We have 2 guests. Today, it's the cultural head of the city of Vienna and a performance artist from Nigeria. And they have 25 minutes in the interview, and we have 100 questions prepared. And they pick a number, and then they get this question, and they have to answer the question. They can say twice they don't want to answer. They have to answer until the host is satisfied.
Oh.
And the audience is present. They are in their boxes and they are present. We think it's so important. Even theater online, the audience has to be present. They cannot hide behind the screen, and people are crazy about it.
Cool. I love this idea. I'm trying to think of what I can steal from this. I really enjoy that idea. Pick a number, choose your own fate. Thank you for your amazing wisdom and thoughts and for sharing. It was lovely to get to speak with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much too. Thanks, Corona.
Yeah.
That we got to meet.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, everyone. This is Improving the World. I'm Lauren, and there's more where that came from. Thanks. Bye. So, did you love the video? If you did, please say kind and wonderful things in the comments down below. And if you're feeling sassy, you could subscribe and look for more Improving the World. Thanks.